So we've made quite a lot of progress today. This lady's been filling in the, well, I suppose you'd call it pre-grouting with adhesive to try and fill up the hollow spots underneath the floors. They seem to be quite successful actually, because after it's dried I go around checking and there aren't any hollow spots again. I have done the hollow spots in this room. There's about, first of all I marked them out and then they did them, and then I went round and checked and I found 4 or 5 other spaces, especially after they'd finished doing the very small edges. So that room's finished. Hopefully tomorrow I'll be able to check that and find that it's nice, sounding nice. I'm working here in shower room number 2 at the moment. Doing the same thing, some pre-grouting with adhesive. There's a lot of adhesive going down these gaps. There's a lot of hollow sounding tiles in here, unfortunately. And obviously I want to make sure I've got waterproof glue underneath and down the cracks as much as possible, so we're not reliant on the grout, because the grout lines in here are not big. They haven't used spacers correctly. They've done it all by eye, and it's not going to provide a very easy grouting scenario. But anyway, a lot of this stuff is going down, so that will help keep this waterproof. So I'm making my way backwards out of this room at the moment. What's happening out here is they're marking out the terrace now. This is the next job. So they've been getting the levels, consulting me on the levels, and I've asked them to build a slope in away from the door there, just in case the rain comes in here heavily, or indeed if we're washing the terrace. So they're putting lines out to get their straight edges, as it were. So tomorrow they can crack on with this. So that's good. I did go and buy some more adhesive along with spare tiles the other day. Yeah, I don't think that's going to be enough, because I thought they were just going to use it for the steps, but they want to mix it with this stuff here. Let's see if I can show you a bag of this. It's called Tile Fix Plus mortar, and they said they're going to mix that along with the crocodile tile adhesive. So I'm not sure if that's going to go very far, because that's quite a thick bed, as you can see there. It's a good 3 or 4 centimetres. So I imagine we'll be having to buy some more mortar and crocodile mix. Anyway, things are progressing. The hollow patches in this floor have now been done, so they will be sort of dryish tomorrow, although they have been going in very wet, so I imagine a couple of days it will be before we can really test them. Yeah. We're on the last leg now, really, because we're outside, so I'll be very, very pleased when these guys leave. I don't have anything against them, it's just that I really want this to finish now and to be here on my own, just to potter around doing the nitty-gritty. Anyway, they've got the terrace to do. That will probably take them a good couple of days, and then they've got steps there in a different tile, and the steps leading out from the kitchen. And they've also got this, what Centre calls a long table. I'm not sure what I call it. It's a sort of table come bench, really, but they've got to put a tile on top of there. That's going to be really easy for them, because it's exactly the width of the tile, and there's only about 1, 2, there's 3, there's 5 cuts involved for the whole thing. And we'll have a tile down the side here as well. But I can't remember if I've mentioned this to you now, but I went out and bought the extra adhesive and extra tiles that I thought we needed, only to discover that I haven't got enough trims for around the edge of the bench or the table, and I also need one more of these step trims as well. Plus I need 2 more packs of tiles for this floor, because unfortunately I didn't take into account just how many tiles the edges take up. We can get 6 of these cuts along the edge out of each tile, but of course it's an enormous length going around all the rooms. So I've got to go off again, give it a couple of days until they've used up their adhesive and what have you, and I can find out exactly what adhesive they need. And I'll be going off to Nang Rong yet again. I think I've been there 10 times, and that's one thing that I won't miss, especially as I'm tempted to buy pizza every time I go there. Anyway, soon, hopefully in a week, I will be on my own in here, pottering around with shower rooms and kitchen. Hooray! Well, unfortunately the tilers had a problem last night. They had a flat tyre, and so they weren't able to get home without a lot of fuss and bother. They left the car here overnight, and they're going to have to get someone to come and get this tyre and get it repaired or replaced. And in fact, here they are now. Anyway, let's go and have a look at what's going on. So they're starting to mix up a sand and cement mixture here, which they'll use as the base. The I don't know, about 3 centimetres of screed effectively. I'm not going to be able to go through this door anymore. I think we'll get that shut off. They're going to lay their first layer of tiles down this straight line here, so they can get their edge for the rest of the job. This is my last time to go through this door, I think. Sweaty cup. This is the father. He's come to do the doors today. Father and his oppo. So that's good. They reckon they'll be finished in 5 days now. I think it's going to be quite tight to get it done, but the terrace should be quite quick because it's a big area with very little cutting. Now, let's just go and have a look-see in here. This is where I was working yesterday afternoon, sorting out the hollow bits, which I think you could hear on the video. So I've worked in this whole area. I've done every single joint just about. And everything sounds fantastic now. So I'm quite confident we've got glue underneath all these tiles, which will give us the safety net for the waterproofing, because I don't believe the grout's going to be the only thing that's going to stop the water. I think the grout will gradually deteriorate without us realising it. We'll get a crack in it or something. The walls are a different matter. They're going to be down to Sunteray to do, how she did the kitchen, which is basically to inject adhesive in the joints here. We'll let them grout it, and then we'll break through the grout in the joints and inject adhesive, and it basically is going to be so liquid that it just flows down and fills up any gaps and gradually comes up and then comes out the hole. And she's got that off to a T. She did the kitchen very well with that, so she will do that in the shower enclosures especially, but probably in the rest of the shower room as well, just so that we know that that's all waterproof for when we wash it down. So the lady that's filling the gaps has just got 1 or 2 in here to do. I'm letting her do that. She's just doing one in here at the moment, and then after that she'll be grouting. So we should see a lot of progress today, because a lot of the terrace will get done and the doors will be done, I think. So it looks like what they're doing is the sand and cement's going down, and then they're putting adhesive on top of, well, putting adhesive on the tile, I think, and putting that on top of the sand and cement. So they're working with 2 buckets of muck. Okay, well, the first shower room door doesn't fit. The frame is a little too small, so they're going to have to trim it. Oh dear. Well, he says he's fitted the same doors to his house, he's just told me, and trimming it off is not an issue. But of course it does ruin the painted edge, but we'll have to deal with that ourselves, I guess. Well, normally doors do have a little bit of trimmability, so we just leave them to it and see what happens. What's the worst that can happen? Day 2 of the terrace, and I have to say they're taking particular care around these mouldings. It's a shame a bit of this tile came off in the corner here, but that'll be lost in the grout. It's looking good out here. Hopefully I've done my final trip to Nang Rong, which is 55 kilometres away. I had to buy some more trims here. I got the wrong amount to start with. I had to get some more mortar as well, cement. And the number of trims that have been used is absolutely amazing. I think we've probably used about 50 so far. We've got another 8 or 8, no, probably another 12 to go, because we're trimming around the edges of the steps and at the top of the long table or the bench that you're looking at now. And of course we've been trimming along all the upstands going up the wall, and the bathrooms have used a lot of trim, and the kitchen of course a lot around the work surfaces. The thing that's going quite slowly at the moment is the grouting, to be honest with you. I've got 2 ladies here doing the grouting. There's one in there, she's got to head height with the walls, so that's encouraging. And they did the floor yesterday, but they've not completed this room yet because the doormen came and wanted to work in the doorway. And they're only just starting in this bedroom because she's cleaning the floor now, ready for grouting, but she's also been filling some hollow spots. And this living area is only half done as well. So they need to crack on with that really. But at the end of the day, if they decide that they want to finish, and I want them to finish in the next few days so I can get back to Pattaya and sort out a few things that I've got going on, then I can do the grouting myself later on. It's no big deal to me. Right, we're getting very close to the end of this job now, the tiling. We've had a few days where not many people have turned up. Today we've had a lot turn up because they need to finish today. This guy did the steps for us. 2 days it took him. Now he's doing the rendering down the bottom edge of this terrace. The boss man himself is actually starting on the steps, which is, I would say, quite a big job, so I expect later on there'll be 2 of them cracking on with that, cutting and sticking, maybe even the 3 of them once the rendering's done. Okay. Oh, cup. Cup. Yeah, just got to get the height right for that to suit our needs. Mainly because I need to put a door stop somewhere and have some measures to stop that door from blowing in the wind. So that should be all right, I think. Yeah, it's just a little bit of grouting left to do inside now. The ladies are going to do that. We've got a few edges to do. Few edges to do in here, and some high work left in shower room number 2. Not much, but it's probably a bit awkward because it is very high, so they've got to go up the top of the ladder for that. The rest of this has been done. The boss lady actually had a hand in this, and it's very neat. Not only have they grouted it pretty good, but also they've cleaned it as well, so that's very pleasing. Having said that, I did clear out all the grout lines to make sure that we didn't have any funny business in here. So the main bedroom is done. I am continuing on with my repairs here. I grouted some holes yesterday, but I've got to still dig out some plastic that's protruding from the grout lines. I've got to go around very thoroughly. When I started to grout it, I discovered other ones as well. Well, on the day that they said they would finish, the tilers have finished. Right at the end of the day, they put the final trim in. We've had a good clear up this afternoon. The rendering around the bottom edge that was extended has been done very, very nicely. The steps are done, the terrace is done, apart from the grouting, which I will do next time I'm here. The front steps took 2 days, one chap 2 days to do. This set took 2 chaps 1 day. One of them was the boss. He was pretty quick at what he was doing, he knew his stuff. Although I have to say, these people have moments of brilliance, like the way they shape around these bits here to give some semblance of neatness and the correct way to cut things, and the way that they cut this joint in the long table here, the bench if you like, the way they cut that diagonally instead of having a sort of square cut out. That's much neater. They have moments of brilliance like that, and then moments of complete and utter sort of thoughtlessness, really. Here's another one that they tried to shape out very successfully, although they didn't bother after that. They just did straight cuts after that. And I don't blame them, I'm not really worried about that. But yeah, a little bit inconsistent with their working practice. Their standards are not as good as European standards, Western standards. And I found a lot of grout where they've grouted over glue which was at the surface of the tile, so I've been doing a lot of work correcting that and making sure that grout lines are clear before they grout where I can. Anyway, the next job will be the kitchen when I'm back, because I'm off down to Pattaya again now for a couple of weeks, and then I'll be back to collect the kitchen, which is due for delivery, and get that fitted. In the meantime, I'm actually able to lock up. So all the doors and windows are locked, and the outside is relatively clean. Yeah. Sigh of relief, frankly, because there's a lot of stress gone now, because I'm not relying on anyone else and having to control anyone else. Jobs will get done when I'm here, the ones that are left, the minor ones relatively, and it won't be long before we're completely done. Two main jobs really are to fit the kitchen and paint. So I bid you farewell until the next time with our nice view.